Ms. Kaiser, in your opening statement, you mentioned that healthcare facilities have become the single most targeted within the group. I think the number that I recall, you said that in 2025 there were 460 attacks, doubled from the previous year. And you mentioned in your written opening statement, and you touched a little bit briefly in your oral opening statement about attack in my home state of Mississippi. Just for the benefit of the other members of this committee, want to read a little bit about what's contained there in your opening statement about that attack. You say on February 19th, 2026, when ransomware actors struck the University of Mississippi Medical Center, also known as UMMC, that it was not simply a large hospital, but it was the medical backbone of the entire state. It is Mississippi's only academic medical center, operating 7 hospitals, 35 clinics statewide, and home of the state's only level 1 trauma center, the state's only children's hospital, and the only organ and bone marrow transplant program. When attackers took down UMMC's network, knocking Epic, its electric healthcare record system, fully offline, and forcing clinical staff to revert to pen and paper, they did not merely disrupt a business, they degraded the emergency medical capacity of an entire state. Clinics closed across Mississippi. Outpatient surgeries and cancer treatment appointments were canceled. For 9 days, the state's only facility equipped to handle the most severe trauma cases operated under manual downtime procedures, with staff tracking patients' medication and orders on paper. You then go on to say the hackers behind the UMMC attack knew exactly what they were targeting. They contacted the hospital afterwards with demands. They understood that they had taken down a system that Mississippi patients depended on for survival, and they used that leverage deliberately. Ms. Kaiser, I will tell you that I believe that there are no penalties too severe for individuals who would target our healthcare system. You, in your report, and you also touched on this in your opening statement, you talk about a couple of different things. You talk about using terrorist designations for those individuals who would attack hospitals. You talk about individuals being charged with murder or manslaughter if those attacks led to the death of individuals. And I think you did say in your opening statement that there had been a number of deaths, 47 that had been documented with old information. We believe now that number to be in the hundreds. And so as it relates to the terrorist designation under 18 U.S.C. 2331 and under 8 U.S.C. 1182, do you believe that the Department of Justice currently has the authority to charge under those sections, or do you believe that Congress needs to specifically give the Department of Justice that authority?
So the law defines terrorism as acts dangerous to human life, intended to coerce a civilian population. I think that encrypting a hospital systems and demanding ransoms while patients are being diverted meets that definition, but I'm not asking for a designation today. What I'm saying is that we need honest legal analysis towards that, looking at the existing law and determining if departments believe it meets those thresholds. Those designations aren't a blunt instrument. They're a scalpel. There's a deliberative process behind that where they only designate the worst of the worst. But I agree completely with you, and I want to emphasize what you said. There's no penalty too strong for the individuals that are holding Americans' lives at risk. They're making calculated decisions to target these individuals. And that's why Halcyon is actually funding an update to that research I noted to see exactly how we quantify the risk today.
And are you aware of an example where the Department of Justice has ever used these code sections to seek criminal charges under the definition of terrorist for an attack on the healthcare system?
I'm not aware of any, but With the new executive order, I think that opens a broader spectrum for the Attorney General to look at the most serious provable offenses and determine what weight they can bring to bear.
And one last question, as it relates to murder and manslaughter, as far as federal felony murder charges, kind of the same question. Do you believe that Congress needs to give the Department of Justice additional authorities to charge under that section, or do you believe that they have the current authorities now and would just need to make that on a case-by-case basis?
I think clarifying guidance would be helpful, but they likely have the authorities today under the current statutes.
Thank you. At this time, I yield back